So, our glider is set up. This is the Icaro Puma, one I use for electrical powered flights. Initial training will be without any power. It will be just running to train on this moonwalking and also changing the grips, because launching with the gas mosquito style takeoff is not like launching from a mountain. It's pretty different. The technique is that you should have the motor to push you. Typically with a mountain launch, the launch is only some 2-3 seconds, and you go quite quickly from holding the grip like this to just going down on the bottom bar. This you must not do when takeoff with the gas motor. The technique is that you hold like this and you let the glider lift and you balance it in the hang point, change your grip, go with the hands down, and you just moonwalk. You don't push the glider, you let the motor push you, and all you do is balance and do this moonwalk thing. So this we can train without any motor, and the wind is quite strong here now, so it should float quite easily. Let's try. Remember this one, go here, here, forward with the hip, long steps, let the motor push you. First start walking. Walk. Then run, change the grip, go down, moonwalk. Yeah. That's it. Here the rig is out, gas tank is full, and let's start the preparations. Okay, now it's hanging in the hang strap, but before more things, have to warm up the engine, check everything, make sure it runs nice and smoothly, and we do that without the propeller. Let's explain the system. Here we have the foldable propeller removed for warming up the motor. Here is a, I think, 15 horsepower two-stroke engine, 120 cubic centimeters, I think. Intake muffler. It got a tuned exhaust pipe for the maximum performance. There is a drive shaft, and there is a centrifugal clutch so that the engine is disconnected to the propeller. For not windmilling, there is this brake. Here you can brake the propeller, so stop it from windmilling. Belt driven, make sure that it runs nicely, nothing loose. Electric starter, and this is the battery for the electric start. This unit, the previous owner also installed the hand starter, which is quite nice because then you can save your battery for in-flight startups. The starter button for in-flight start is pushing this. The ignition spark plug is this button, on, off. Here was the brake, and here is a choke. This is for the startups, if you need to choke the engine and get fuel into it. Then you got the throttle. This is the mouth throttle you use during takeoff. And one of the important checkpoints is that it gives actually full power when you got this into its maximum position. Here is also an idle setting for when on ground. Throttling when airborne is with your feet. Inside here is a feet throttle where you push by your toe the amount of power. You launch with the mouth throttle, and you probably use the feet during normal flight. And then during landing, you stop the whole thing. Here is one important feature. You know, the fuel tank is here. And this is the airing of the fuel tank. And make sure that actually the tank is breathing. I heard it bubbling inside there, and this is important for not getting some under pressure in the fuel tank, and you don't get the fuel going to the motor. Here is the fuel filter going to the carburetor, and the carb is the type, membrane type you see on the chainsaw, go-karts and this kind of things. Okay. Let's start it up. And now it's a little bit cold, so the engine is not running as smoothly as it usually do before it gets hot. Just let it sit like this. No bubbles in the fuel. Nothing is loose. It started very easily. I didn't have to use the choke or anything. I just started it here, so the battery is unused. In the air I can then restart after trying out some gliding. I wanted to see how this thing glides. I don't expect it to have the same glide performance as the electrical powered thing, because it's big and cumbersome. I think you need to bring the legs in, and also the foldable propeller need to be braked and streamlined to get some gliding. So I hope to get some at least sink rates. The idle is a little bit high here, so I see that I have to use the brake. Just a note to myself, if I want this high idle, I need to stop the propeller by myself. Okay, now we have run it good and hot, full power for several minutes. And you think it's push enough to fly? Okay, let's see. You need at least 1 minute full power to have a safe landing straight ahead. Okay, let's go fly. that was it. Okay then, down in one piece. The wind was really strong today. It made the takeoff easy, but when climb out and trying to get upwind, the wind 10 meters per second, 12 meters per second, it didn't go anywhere. So less wind is better. Motor worked perfectly. It was super duper. Folding of the propeller, I needed to do the brake. However, the leg fastening is sitting in my car, so this leg didn't get straight, which maybe made air resistance, I think. The rest worked quite nicely, one detail for the next flight is the hang point. This hang point, which is factory setting for the Icaro, in free flight, I always do it on the second behind factory setting, and I think also with this one it need to be that place because it flew too fast, hands off, which the climb rate suffered quite from that. So I had to push on the bar to get some climb rate. I think it climbs with 1 meter per second, 2 meters per second, but the turbulence was so severe some places that it's not easy to say what the climb rate is. It kind of works quite useful. Takeoff was easier than I thought, but there's a lot of wind, of course. Big thanks to Jorgos Billas, Swedish instructor on the YouTube, that made this a nice experience. Worked pretty well as the instruction book. So thank you, Jorgos. Okay, that was the first flight. Approved?
Yes.
Okay, and you're an experienced paraglider power. And this is the place you usually fly.
Yep.
Yeah. It was useful with a lot of space, because if something happened, you can go straight ahead. But the wind today, it was too much.
Too much. Very sketchy.
Yeah, in 750 meters, it was about 10 meters per second, 12 meters per second, according to my instrument. And I almost went backwards. Okay, thank you for your help. See you.